Okay, looks like we have everyone here. Good evening. My name's Bob Connors. It is 6 p.m. and I'd like to call the September 2nd meeting, the Newbury Conservation Commission to order. Mason, can you read the preamble and remote open meeting law and take a roll call of the members present?
As a preliminary matter, this is Mason Ferret, Conservation Agent of the Newbury Conservation Commission, and I call the September 2nd meeting to order and permit me to confirm that all members are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mary Rimmer,
Yes.
TJ Conti, Mick Brown, Harry Trout,
Here.
Woody Knight, Frank Wettenkamp,
Yes.
and Bob Connors.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. This open meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Newbury Conservation Commission is convening by Zoom call as posted on the agenda of the Conservation section of the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Applicants or their representatives may be called upon on the fly to speak and or share information to the screen if able on the fly. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda, but before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules. First, the chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down each line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your microphone, please use earbuds, and please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. After board and committee members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair will first seek questions through the chat function. The chair will then seek questions from the public who wish to speak. They will be asked to identify their names, addresses, question, and once the chair has a list of all public commentators, they'll call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote.
Okay, thank you, Mason. Upcoming meeting dates, September 16th and October 7th. Meeting minutes review. The 8-5 meeting will be, just got to me, so we'll get those in the Dropbox for the September 16th meeting. Okay, first order of business, certificate of compliance, DEP file number 0501393, 105 High Road, Seagate Project. The applicant is submitting a request for a full certificate of compliance for the construction of the wetland replication area. Mason, can you provide an overview and a recommendation?
Yeah, so this replication area, I was actually on site with Tom as they did the initial construction of the area, bringing it down to the existing grade of the wetland after they planted, and then also at the end once everything grew in and was stabilized. So I'd recommend that we close out. Everything looks completely wrapped up, but I'd pass it to Tom if he has anything else to add.
Okay, Tom, do you want to give us a quick overview?
Yeah, I mean, so it's not just the wetland replication area, but also the bog bridges and the trail through buffer zone that was created. This is part of the open space, and later on your agenda, you'll be talking about the open space and the conservation restriction associated, but everything looks great. If anything, the vegetation is coming in too aggressively. It's kind of a little bit insane when you walk out the trail there, how the vegetation is just going wild, but it looks great. Came in really well, and Mason was out several times, but we were very careful to adjust grades to match hydrology. And even during some of the dry spells we've had this summer, I've been able to pull moist soils out of that replication area. So I'm pretty comfortable with its hydrology.
Okay, why don't I stop you there, Tom, and open it up to questions from the members. Mary, questions for Tom on this project?
No, I'll be abstaining on this one, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Okay, Woody is not here. Mick, what do you have? Any questions for Tom on this
No.
project?
No questions on this one?
Okay. Harry, how about you?
Yeah, no questions.
Okay. Frank, any questions? You're on mute, Frank. if you,
No, no questions, thanks.
Okay. And so, Tom, all the other orders of conditions and all the houses closed out, what else is?
So
outstanding?
everything
everything
else is out
closed?
of jurisdiction.
Okay,
You may recall when we permitted this, there is no stream present, but because it was during a drought, we basically pretended a stream existed and drew a 200-foot line, and even then, none of the houses were in jurisdiction.
okay.
We just had to pay a 50% surcharge on the fee. It was basically the result of that.
Yeah, it's expensive to live in Massachusetts. I have no questions. Are there any raised hands from the public at this time, Mason? Would anyone like to speak or have a question on this project?
Seeing none.
Okay, do any members have requests for a site visit or additional information? Okay, hearing no request, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 105 High Road.
Second?
Who made the,
Was me.
you made the second, who made the
Yes.
first?
So moved.
Okay. All right, so it's gonna be Mick and Harry. Okay, roll call, all in favor. Mick,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes,
and Bob Connors votes yes. Thank you, Tom, and you're
Thank
gonna
you.
stay on, you're gonna be back on the concept.
Yeah,
Conservation
are you
restriction.
sticking with the times on the agenda? Am I
Yep,
safe to
yep.
log on at like 7:40?
You know what, sometimes you know what, honestly, sometimes these certificates and RDAs take longer than NOIs, so it's,
I just mean I don't want to log on too late. If I log in at 7:40, I understand I may have to wait.
I
but-
can shoot you a text, Tom, when it's coming up. We have a couple continuances too, so I can let you know.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so
okay,
much.
yep, thank you,
Take care.
Tom.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, next order of business is a certificate of compliance, DEP file number 0501-337, 84 Boston Road. Applicant is requesting a full certificate of compliance for a project that was permitted to construct a proposed office, garage, and contractor's yard. Plan amendments were made during the project, and an as-built drawing has been provided, highlighted with additional changes. Mason, where are we at on this? Can you give us an update on this in your overview?
As of right now, I have no updated plans from them. Me and the planning director had done a site walk out there identifying the changes that they needed to highlight on their as-built. And I think that they're still working on those, so
Okay.
they'll be.
All right, so we're not gonna take any action on this. Why don't you kick this to the September 16th?
Yep.
Okay, next order of business. Certificate of compliance, DEP file number 0501342. 61 Elm Street. Applicant is requesting a full certificate of compliance for construction of a single-family home with a driveway that goes through a buffer zone areas. Mason, can you provide an overview on this one and a recommendation?
Yep, so this was the construction of a house. The house was entirely out of the 100-foot buffer zone. But the work that came in front of the board was for the driveway that was adjacent to and maybe directly in the wetland as well. Millennium had provided an as-built saying that the road was installed according to the approved plan. And when I was on site, everything looked wrapped up. There was no additional erosion or anything like that.
Okay, Steve, are you presenting on this one?
Yeah, I'm covering for TJ tonight on this.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically it was just a driveway crossing to access the site. They placed the driveway right on the property line, so it really couldn't get any further away. It was constructed per plan. And there was a small culvert that crosses under the driveway. Everything was installed. So it's really just the first, probably it's about 100 feet of driveway to get through to the upland in the rear. That was part of this project. The driveway's installed and everything's stabilized.
Okay. Oh, why don't we, questions from the members? Mary, any questions for Steve on this one?
Steve, I don't remember, was there wetland replication or any wetland restoration needed for this one?
I don't believe, so there, I'm looking at I can share the as-built. It doesn't appear there was any wetland taking to get there. It was
Okay.
close. It looks like it's about 15 feet off the edge of the BBW on this.
Yeah, if you could project.
Okay,
it
I'll
again,
share.
that would be helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I gotta make co-host. Should be all set.
Okay.
Okay. Woody, we're on the 61 Elm Street Certificate of Compliance.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
All right.
Right,
So it appears, so I think unfortunately, I wasn't involved with the permitting unless TJ was. So my guess that this might have been the original BVW line, the dotted, and then the updated line probably ran in this manner
Mhm.
after probably the field visit. So this is the edge of the driveway that runs down the edge of the property here. So, so I'm looking at this driveway's probably 12, so this is about 15 feet off. But it appeared, there was, it was built per plan right up against the property line. And sort of squeezed right through the only buffer, out of, upland or its buffer area, but outside of the BVW, squeezed right past to get to the house, which is well out of the 100-foot buffer.
Okay, so it doesn't look like there was a lot of grading involved or anything. And where's the
No.
culvert that you described?
There's just a little culvert. So what it looks,
Oh, right
appears
on
there's
the
a
street?
swale.
Okay,
Yeah, on the street, there's a swale that runs along,
see.
and then
Okay.
so it runs along this manner, and then it looks like it gets piped across to the opposite side. So
Oh.
this is just to continue the street flow, the gutter, the swale flow along the roadway.
okay, thanks. And
Yep.
Mason, everything looks revegetated and stable?
Yep.
Okay.
Great.
I'm all set then. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Mary. Woody, any questions for Steve Sawyer on 61 Elm Street?
No, I don't have any questions right now, Bob. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Mick, how about yourself? Any questions on this project for Stephen
No,
Sawyer?
no question.
Okay, Harry, how about yourself? Any
No questions
for-
at this time.
Okay, and Frank Wettenkamp, any questions?
No, Bob, thank you.
Okay, and I have no questions. Mason, are there any raised hands from the public at this time? Or anyone would like to comment on this?
Seeing none.
Okay, do any members have requests for a site visit or additional information? Okay, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 61 Elm Street.
So move.
Okay, second?
Second?
Thank you, Mick. Okay, roll call vote. All in favor. Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes,
Mick,
All right,
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes,
and Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, thank you,
Thank-
Steve. Are you
thank you.
on, are you on some other things tonight or?
Yeah,
just-
I'm on a couple others. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next order of business is a certificate of compliance. DEP file number 0501419, 62 Middle Road. Applicant is submitting a certificate of compliance request for completion of septic work, driveway installation in a buffer zone. Mason, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on this one?
Yeah, so just a brief history on this project. They originally had filed for the COC, I believe it was just about this time last year. We all did a site walk to do the final kind of inspection and realize some enforcement issues that we had dealt with them from the past couple of months. Just recently, we ratified the enforcement order, and the only remaining thing to finish up was the stabilization of the backyard. I believe the current homeowners are selling. So they've reseeded and everything is fully stabilized. It's on their listing pictures as well right now, you can see. But everything is wrapped up and I think they're good to go.
Okay, thank you, Mason. Is there anyone here for the applicant to make a presentation or to answer questions? Well, why don't we open this up? Mary, you remember this one? This
I
was
do.
down on Middle Road.
Yep.
Stuff in the tree debris and stuff was, you know,
Right.
wasn't where it wanted.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna ask is whether the erosion controls were removed. I think
Yes.
that, yeah, they were. Okay.
Yep.
Then I think that we were just waiting for the grass to
Yeah, it was,
revegetate, so I think we're good on this one.
okay. Woody, any questions in this one?
Nope, if Mason's all set with it, I'm good.
Okay. Mick, how about yourself? Any questions for
No.
Mason on this one?
No, I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Harry, any questions for Mason on this one? Ever have any concerns?
No concerns, no questions.
Thank you, Harry. Frank, any questions or concerns on this one?
No, thank you.
Okay, and I do not have any questions or concerns. Are there any raised hands from the public at this time? Okay.
Seeing none.
Do any members have a request for a site visit or additional information at this time?
No.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 62 Middle Road.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Keep that order, guys. It makes it so much easier. Trying to write,
Keep
look up
moving,
who
keep it
said,
moving.
yeah. Okay, roll call vote, all in favor? Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes,
Nick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes,
and Bob Connors votes yes. Mason, great job on this one. If you remember, it was kind of an elderly homeowner and they were kind of, you know, lost in the woods and all this, and Mason did a great job getting them back on track and getting them to the finish line. Okay, next order of business is we have a request for a determination, 22 14th Street. Applicant is submitting an RDA for an in-kind replacement, masonry stairs on Plum Island. Mason, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on where we're at on this one?
Yeah, so where we last left off, Ed was gonna talk to the mason and, you know, potentially the person doing some of the work to get some detailed plans. And since then, he actually just submitted today some detailed plans, including the stair repair, some wall reconstruction, with some new footings as well. I believe he wants to go share the slides that he's presented with the plan on there. And I think that as long as we identify storage areas and things like that, they should be good to go.
Okay. Yeah, just give us your name and address and then make your presentation.
Yeah, hi, Bob. It's Edward Olin of 22 14th Street, but
Good-
I'm
good
not.
evening, Ed.
All right, now I'm active to share. Here we go. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
It's loading.
It's loading.
There we go.
Okay, so you may recall we discussed this back in June. We have this wall landing area A, which is connected to the structure that is under the three-season porch. We also have this fieldstone brick wall and then fieldstone wall and then cinder blocks along the street. And I provided some pictures of just some of the damage from last winter, as well as some damage from Amazon trucks, etc.
Mhm.
So what we did back in June is we had exploratory conversations with Shea Concrete to see if they had any type of like elevator shaft type riser that could be used and just plug and play. They had nothing they could do. I sent out RFI feelers to masons and construction firms. Ultimately had 3 firms review the project. Nobleport Construction, they proposed, but I did not select them. I didn't feel it was very detailed. Perry Brothers decided not to bid, and then Henry Becker bid, and I selected to work with Henry based on past experience I have with him. We ended up going this route because you all said, you know, it might be more complicated than you initially expect. Better to get a construction person, not just a mason. So Henry Becker Construction met with Joe Fix as well as Vesta Architecture in late August, and some preliminary plans were drafted. Upon further investigation last week with the mason, they determined that the footing that exists should be sufficient in order to provide the repair. A new footing won't need to be completed. And it looks like they could just do some shovel digging around that wall and the existing stairs. The existing stairs are kind of like a prefab set of stairs that were there from when the owner first built this. That will stay. They'll replace all of the cinder blocks that are there, but they are going to core drill in some rebar to connect it to the foundation, to the existing foundation and basement that's there. And they're going to add in also along kind of the stairs, perpendicular to the stairs, these vertical bars as well. And this X is a steel I-beam that's over it. Right now up here, we have this, additional stacked cinder block stairs with some granite. And they recommend replacing that with new wood frame and then some PVC over pressure treated wood up here. So that is where we are now. And they would like to start the work, in October. And if you give the thumbs up, we're going to go talk to, I guess, the building side of things and get permits and things of that nature.
Okay, why don't I hold you there, Ed? Mary, questions for Ed? I think we did a site visit on this one, as I recall.
I do remember the project. I don't remember being at this. Oh yeah, I do remember being at the site. In any event, it seems like there's less work than we originally thought might be necessary. I like the idea of converting the concrete stairs to wood framing. It's more consistent with Dune performance standards, and the rest of the work looks like repair of existing. So provided, you get your building permit, I have no objection.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Woody, any questions for Ed on this project?
I'll just make the comment that a lot of thought's been put into this and it looks good. I like the plan that's been set forth before us.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Mick, any questions for Ed on this proposed project?
No, it looks like there's no expansion of existing, correct? Ed?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Mary already touched on that too. So, no, I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Mick. Harry, any questions for Ed on this project?
Yeah, no questions at this time.
Okay, Frank, how about yourself? Any questions for Ed?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Ed, the only statement I'm gonna make is I wish every applicant for an RDA came in with this kind of detail, because it would be a lot quicker and a lot easier for everybody.
Well, I am a project manager, so that.
Well, you know what, I was going to ask you what you
Goes.
do because
Yeah.
it was blatantly obvious.
Yeah, I deploy security equipment for TSA and Homeland Security throughout the world, so kind of
Okay.
detailed. But Bob, can I ask you if they get in there and they find something totally different, do we just communicate to Mason?
Yeah,
Or what do we do?
Mason is your gateway, and if Mason feels that it gets out the parameters of what the RDA provided, he can bring it back to us for further, or he'll contact me or Mary to get some further advice. So,
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
all.
Okay, any raised hands from the public at this time, Mason?
Seeing none.
Okay, do any members have a request for a site visit or additional information?
I would just know, Bob, but I just had a quick thought that, the plan that was just projected said the work would be done hand digging, so maybe to consider one threshold for additional review would be if you need to use heavy equipment for some reason to do other digging, other than the hand digging.
Mm.
We'd probably want to know about that.
I mean,
You mean-
a
You
mini
mean like a
excavator-
Bobcat or something?
Yeah, or a mini excavator is typically what.
Yeah,
I
just so
mean-
that the access routes and, any
Yeah.
vegetation impacts and everything could be evaluated by Mason before deciding whether or not we needed to look at that again or not,
Okay,
right?
So Mason, you've worked out with that storage area for construction materials and spoils?
Yeah, I think
Well-
in the first meeting, he said that everything would be kept in the driveway.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Henry Becker is well versed on dealing with Newbury on Plum Island, so,
yep.
okay. I will entertain a motion to issue a negative finding for 22 14th Street.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, Roll call, all in favor? Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Good luck, Ed. Thank you. Excellent
Thank you all.
presentation.
Appreciate the time.
All right, let me just make a couple of notations here. Well, team, we're moving along pretty quickly, which is great. Okay, next matter is a request for determination of applicability. 18 Jackson Way, applicant is submitting an RDA for replacement of a patio and associated site work. The submission addresses unpermitted work. Mason, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on this?
Yeah, so I think most of the board was able to get out to the site. We had some questions on kind of the footprint of the existing patio, if there was going to be any expansion, what materials were there before, and then what's proposed to be put down, as well as take a look at the other areas where the old footpath was. I think after we all got our eyes on site, I think it was a little bit more clear the scope of the project and that there wouldn't be any additional disturbance and things like that. So I think that this one's all set.
Yeah, I mean, we went out, I was out there, I think Mary, you and did you come, you came by too, Mick, didn't you?
Yep.
And Harry, you had stopped by independently?
Yes, I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, questions from the members. Mary, any further questions for
No.
Diane? Okay. Woody, any questions?
No questions. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, Mick, any questions?
Nope. Nope.
Thank you, Mick. Harry, how about you? Any
Straightforward.
questions?
No questions.
Okay, Frank, any questions for Diane?
No, thank you. I'm all set. Thanks.
Okay, I have no questions. Are there any raised hands from the public at this time? Okay. Do any members have a request for a site visit or additional information? Okay, I will entertain a motion to issue a negative finding for 18 Jackson Way.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Harry and Mick. Roll call, all in favor? Mary,
yes,
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and Bob Connors. Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you.
good luck with your project.
Thank you, Mary. Have a great night, everyone.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Bye.
Okay, next order of business is a request for determination of applicability, 118 Northern Boulevard. The applicant is submitting an RDA to construct dormers and do work on exterior decks on a single-family home on a primary dune site on Northern Boulevard. Mason, can you give us an overview and a recommendation? at
Yeah,
this
so
time?
I think we had discussed all of the work that was going to be in the existing footprint last time. We wanted to discuss where storage materials were going to be, and then I believe that they were going to add to their plan a French drain that they had wanted to install. So I think once they show us some details with the French drain, I'd recommend approving.
Okay, have they provided you with a submittal?
I have not had anything yet.
Okay, is the applicant here who wants to make a presentation and share his plan?
Yeah, this is Dennis Van Dyke.
Yeah, just give us your address.
Yeah, it's 118 Northern Boulevard in Newbury.
Thank you.
And yeah, we went over all the details other than the French drain, and that was going to be, we were going to hand dig on the backside of the house,
Yep.
and stay within a couple of feet of the foundation. And the reason we're doing that is because we're getting a little moisture into the bottom of the basement. And definitely making sure any, greenery that was there, that we'd replace it. It's mostly sand, but there is a little bit of greenery there that we would put to the side and put back.
Okay, do you have an updated plan? Did you?
We didn't have a plan for that. We took a picture of the back. I didn't realize we walked out there with Mason several months ago, and we kind of pointed out, where it was going. And I
Okay.
think we had a plan of the lot that I could kind of point out to, if I didn't know if you had that handy or if we needed that.
And yeah, I would just add within the first, I would say 2 or 3 feet from the foundation of the house, there isn't really vegetation. So they, they may have some on the edge that would be, impacted as a result of the hand digging. But when we went out there, I thought it was pretty clear that they could, hand dig and replace everything in kind if they did need to disturb anything.
Okay, I mean, I would think if we get to a negative finding, just include prior to start of work to get you out there and just kind of go over, the game plan, so everything goes smoothly. Okay, Mary, questions on this one? This was the one they had, you're basically doing some deck work and dormer work, and then the moisture problem was the last thing that you added, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
No, just restoring any vegetation that is damaged during the work. So
okay,
maybe some pre and post photographs, to document that.
okay. Thank you, Mary. Woody, any questions?
No questions, and I agree with Mary.
Okay. That's probably a common statement for this board.
Yeah, agree with Mary.
Yeah,
Oh, we're
listen,
adjourned.
Wow.
there's a reason I go out of order alphabetically and Mary's first, because it saves a lot of pain and strain. Harry, any questions?
No questions at this time.
Okay. Frank, any questions?
No, looks good to me.
Okay, I do not have any questions. Mason, are there any raised hands from the public at this time?
Seeing none.
Okay. Do any members have a request for a site visit or additional information? Okay. I will entertain a motion to issue a negative finding for 118 Northern Boulevard with a couple of notations of pre-post pictures and notifying the agent prior to start of work.
So moved.
Was that
Second.
Harry or Frank? Is that you, Frank?
No.
No, that was Harry.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Roll call. All in favor. Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and Bob Connors. Great. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next order of business, a request for determination of applicability. 41 Fruit Street, applicant is submitting an RDA for septic work, conversion of a garage to livable space. Mason, can you give us an overview in this and a recommendation?
Yeah, so this is buffer zone work. As it was mentioned, I believe they're bringing the garage to an ADU, and they'll need to do some associated septic work to accommodate for that. It looks like it was all lawn and buffer zone. As I drove by, you could kind of see everything from the street for this project. The only thing that I would note is I do not think that they have approval from Board of Health yet. So I think as long as that would be approved by Board of Health, then I'd be comfortable approving this.
Okay, does the applicant want to make a presentation or his representative?
Hello, my name is Alex Chongers with Chongers Engineering. I'm representing the applicant. I'm going to share can I share my screen?
Certainly.
I apologize. There's a cricket in my office right now and I don't know where he is, and if you can hear him, I'm sorry.
Listen, we usually have dogs barking in the background at all
Yeah,
our
right.
houses, so cricket won't be as distracting.
Oh, I can't find it. Let's see, sharing my screen. Let me know once you guys can see my plan.
Loading.
I'm good.
You guys can see that?
Yes.
I can
All
see
right,
it.
great. So I'll give you a quick summary. So back in 2019, you guys saw this under a different engineer. They were replacing a septic system. They put a Presby located right up in here. It's a mounted system. It has capacity for 4 bedrooms. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to convert their garage that's already there, and they want to make it into a livable space. Unfortunately, since it's mounted, you can't go gravity. We have to throw in a pump chamber. So we're proposing throwing a pump chamber, and we're hooking up to the tank and no other disturbance within there. And we also have to propose a water line to connect. So this has water for plumbing. Most of the work is beyond the 50-foot buffer. Everything's established lawn. Right here, if you can see my mouse, is the edge of lawn. And we don't anticipate, they don't anticipate adding any impervious areas such as walkways or things of that nature. They're keeping everything the same. And the only disturbance is the adding of the septic tank and this water line and the line to the house's septic tank.
Okay,
Happy to take any questions.
great. Questions from the members? Mary, questions on this one?
It looks like this is in the riverfront area as well.
Correct. Yep. They have a 200-foot river buffer right here.
Okay, and so the original filing that we had was just for the septic system, or was it for the house and septic?
Oh, this is an old house. The
An old
original
house.
back in 2019 was for the replacement of the septic system.
Just the septic, okay. All right, that, yeah, there's some. I have no problem then, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Woody, any questions?
Oh,
on
and
this
sorry,
one?
May I also have we're expected to go in front of the Board of Health the next meeting. I forget, I think it's next week or the week after. That's why we haven't got approval yet. Sorry for that.
Okay, thank you for that update. Woody, any questions on this one?
Nope, seems pretty straightforward. Thank you, Bob.
Okay. Yep, thank you, Woody. Mick, any questions on this project?
So the existing home is rated for a 4.
Yeah, so what they're going to be doing is they're going to be kind of taking away a room in the house and adding a room. So the house is no longer going to be a 4-bedroom house. And then there's a room in here that we and Deb have been talking with that's really not classified as a bedroom. So they're proposing to eliminate that and adding the bedroom into here. So there's no increase in flow.
And you're adding a bath to the that outbuilding, the garage?
Correct, yeah, bedroom and bath, yep.
Okay. And so you're pending approval from the
Yep, because we had to request a variance or groundwater for the tank, so we have to, I'm anticipating approval, but obviously we don't always, don't want to jinx it.
and there's no expansion of any construction.
Nope, no, the only work and the only disturbance is the tank. They're not proposing any patios. All the work, this structure's already built, so everything's interior.
Right.
that they're putting in.
Okay. All right.
All right,
No,
thank
no
you,
other
Mick.
questions right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Harry, any questions on this project?
Yeah, no, Bob, no questions.
Okay, thank you, Harry. Frank, any questions on this project?
No, Bob, I'm all set.
Okay, so yeah, just one question on access. I'm assuming when you're bringing in a mini excavator to do the work and you're just gonna bring it up, I'm gonna call it the left side of the house, just come up the existing driveway.
Yep, I have it just exactly. We're gonna follow the driveway's right there. We're gonna follow there's a little garden area. I don't have shown as
Right.
boxes, but they'll skinny that all around that. And there's the edge of lawn you can still show is right here. So there's not gonna be anything within the, everything is gonna happen within the lawn area.
Okay,
And there's not gonna be any fill coming brought in because we're not doing a system. It's just, digging the hole and maybe like a 550 full of material or triaxle, but no fill getting brought in.
okay. Are there any raised hands from the public at this time, Mason?
Seeing none.
Okay, do any members have a request for a site visit or additional information? Okay, I will entertain a motion to issue a negative finding for 41 Fruit Street with the usual pre-post inspection, pre and post pictures of the site and notify the agent prior to start, just to go coordinate everything. Anything else, Mary, you want to add to that, or?
Alex, you think erosion controls are necessary on this site? It looks like
I proposed
pretty-
it. I have some. I have a
you
road
do have them
control
shown around the, okay, there it is, thanks.
and on the edge. Yep.
Yep, no, I just think revegetation upon completion, that would be
Okay,
the only thing.
okay, just include that as well as it. Okay, thank you, Mary. Woody, any other comments or questions?
That's serviced by Byfield Water or well water?
It's town water. You have the
Okay,
shown
so
coming.
you're just gonna jump the line that goes in the house and go to the garage.
Yeah, that'll be the correct. Yep, same meter.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
I'm good.
Mick, any further questions at this time?
Nope.
Okay,
All set. Thank you.
all right, so I'm entertaining a motion for a negative finding. So who wants to make the motion?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, roll call. All in favor, Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes,
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and Bob Connors vote yes. Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Okay, Wow, we have a bunch of IDAs here tonight, Mason. Okay, next order of business is a request for determination of applicability. Newbury Phragmite project. Applicants requesting to add parcel to an already approved treatment, to already approved treatment plan. Mason, this was tied in with the refuge, as I recall, wasn't it? Was numerous
Yeah, so
sites.
just to give people kind of a brief summary of what's been going on. A group of homeowners had reached out on Seaview Lane, looking to do a Phragmites removal project. We had given them the list of recommended consultants in the area, and they had reached out trying to coordinate kind of the best way to do it and to get everything permitted. They'd been talking with Nancy Powell, who's one of the refuge managers, and who does a lot of work on the salt marsh with pepperweed and Phragmites and things like that. So between Nancy and Mike DeRosa, they have been talking to see kind of the best way to get this permitted. There's a couple active permits right now for Phragmite and pepperweed eradication through the refuge, and I believe Peter Phippen also has an open one too for the work that him and Jeff Walker do for the salt marsh in Newbury. I had put this on the agenda and they hadn't advertised yet because Nancy and Mike had the idea of just including additional parcels and what has already been permitted. I believe for the most part, it's going to be the same techniques and things like that, but just opening it up to the residents on Seaview Lane who are looking to get some of this work done. I think they are open to, a full new RDA if that's where the board thinks that this needs to go. But tonight I just kind of wanted to start the original discussion and get some feedback to hopefully get back to them.
Is there anyone doing a presentation, or you providing the overview?
Not tonight. They need to meet internally. I think that Nancy and Mike are going to meet to discuss what was already covered by the existing permits and things like that.
So if we required an additional RDA, because you typically can't amend an RDA, would it be the applicant would be the refuge and then using all the criteria and techniques?
So the applicant, I think, would be Mr. Perry. I forget his first name off the top of my head. William Perry. He's been kind of the one spearheading the project, but it sounds like he's going to be working with Rick Rubin as well, who does a lot of salt marsh work and things like that. He owns the Marshmaster machine, which is able to get out there and kind of have low impact and things like that. So it's a bit of a group effort in terms of who's representing them.
Okay. Well, I'll open this up to the members. Mary, what are your thoughts on this? Can they just add the lot numbers because it's going to be the same technique?
I don't think you can do that, but and I'm a little hazy on the methods that they're using.
Yeah.
It seems like there's some different options, and I don't know what the Marshmaster is just a mower, to how much disturbance it does, and whether they're using herbicides, whether it's just what method they're using in this case, and if it's different than what they're doing in other locations. So it's hard to tell whether it's an RDA or an NOI because we don't really know what methods. So I would prefer to get some more information before acting on this one.
Yeah, I think they're looking for feedback that.
Yeah.
So I think it was Nancy from the refuge. She
Nancy
was
Powell, yeah.
she was overseeing all this, as I
And
recall.
DEP's weighed in the past about some of these activities.
No, I know.
And so we just want to be aware of that as well.
Mhm.
That I think, depending on who is looking at it, have taken the position that it's not an RDA. But I'm hearing conflicting information on that.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I think having the refuge lead the effort.
And that's the other thing, is it on refuge land or is it on private property? Because if it's a refuge land, then they have some exemptions from
So it's
state
going to be
review.
it's a combination for the most part, because a lot of the kind of central marsh Phragmites that are being treated by the refuge and
Right, and they don't really need to come to us for that. Yep.
Right. So
but the overlap onto private property because they want to get rid of the whole strand.
Right. So it's private property on Seaview Lane. It extends to Pine Island Road. There's refuge property, and then there's also Greenbelt property too. So I think everyone's been kind of communicating to try and
Okay.
get on board.
Okay,
But with that many parcels and kind of a wide scope of techniques and things, maybe lean towards a notice of intent.
I guess it just really depends on the activity and whether it's considered an, an alteration of the resource or not. Because
Mhm.
if it's just cutting, it may not be, so. And I don't know how much disturbance this marsh master makes, so I think that they just need to do a little write-up, show us what lots, which particular area is involved. And I think would be a new RDA at a minimum, so.
I think the marsh master is basically spraying whatever treatment they're using. I don't think it's actually
Oh, it's
mulching
just a
it.
sprayer, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want to say, I've seen something out on there, and obviously I've talked to Jeff Walker over the years, and
Yeah, and
they
there's
use that,
time of
they
year
use it,
restrictions for when you can do this
Right.
too, so, because I'm looking to see,
yeah, they're looking for direction, certainly not an answer
Yeah,
tonight. so.
some of that area is priority habitat, so you'd have to.
Yeah.
We need a little more detail.
Mhm.
Okay. Woody, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's great that someone's being proactive for some of these Phragmites, because they're everywhere and they're spreading. But other than that, no, Mary covered it, Mason covered it, and it sounds like it's gonna be an RDA, a new RDA and a little more information.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Mick, what are your thoughts on this one?
In light of saying I agree with Mary and I agree with Woody.
Yeah.
No, I think some more details needed, and especially if they're adding new lots,
Yeah.
it needs to be clearly defined, because just mowing isn't a method of control.
Right,
If they're looking to control Phragmites, and there needs to be a little bit more detail on exactly how they're going to control Phragmites.
So I mean, it comes across to me as it's an invasive species, what they're trying to do is manage it or eliminate it, but
right. There's also that thought of, what's the follow-up maintenance
right.
requirement and everything. We don't really know. And now it sounds like we've got two different project proponents, and one's private, one's public, and so there's a few details need to be worked out, because some of these methods, they provide some temporary relief, but then it actually encourages Phragmites growth if you don't stay up with it. So it's a grass, so you cut it and it shoots out rhizomes and spreads in other areas.
It's
So if you don't
monocot, right.
try to kill it at the same time, then you're doing more harm than good.
Okay. Harry, any comments or questions on this one?
The only comment is just need more information, which has been said.
Yeah.
But we'll just wait for that to come in then.
Yeah, I think Mason, we obviously need a map identifying the parcels.
Yeah.
And then the overlay of where the Phragmites are, so that we have a clear understanding. And I may, again, probably see a site visit to walk and see what's going on there too, just to get the full flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else, Harry?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Frank, any comments on this? You're on mute, Frank.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. And I do not have any questions. So I'm just curious, because we're not going to take any action. Are there any raised hands from the public that would like to speak? Not sure.
Yep, it looks like I thought we had one. Yes, we do.
Okay. Hi, give us your name, because you don't look like a Craig, so.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kathleen Pearson. I live at 21 Seaview Lane. And I've spoken to Bill Perry, who's asked me to send an email through the neighborhood in support of the Phragmites. But I just would like to bring attention to the commission is everybody's pretty much in support of removing the Phragmites. But I would just like everybody to be aware of that, in Old Town, we have drinking water wells. Where in Plum Island, you have the Newburyport Water Commission with overseeing your water. In Byfield, you have the Byfield Water Commission. In Old Town, we have a defunct water Commission. So who is looking at this, making sure that the means and methods are safe for the drinking water? And I mean, we all know that you can go out and spray pesticides on your dandelions and you're not likely to pollute your well. It's just a matter of quantity and frequency is, I guess, the question. And where I work for a large water supplier, I know that we have gotten away from using pesticides if not needed. I'm not saying I'm anti-pesticides, I'm just saying that we just need to be cautious and understand what's going on, because the refuge is a little different than being feet, we're talking tens, I don't even know if it's 100 feet away, the property line from these drinking water wells. And we're all connected in the aquifer. So I just want to bring that to your attention, and I'm sure that we'll get more information. But I've been receiving calls and emails to ask just to come to the meeting tonight, just to express that concern.
So are you on private wells or are you on Byfield water?
No, there's Old Town is only public water only goes to the highway department. It goes down Green Street into the elementary school. Everybody else is on private wells. So even though the highway department's top of the street, only one house, I believe, below that is on well and on drinking water. The rest of us are on private wells.
Okay.
So that's it. But we're all the Phragmites are spreading. In the past couple of years, they've gone quite thick there where we never really noticed them before. So there is an issue. It's just a matter of, I mean, you cut them down, you dig them up. They're just going to come back. So I'm not quite sure what as someone had pointed out previously. Yep, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mason, are there any other members of the public that would like to speak at this time?
No, seeing none.
Okay, so Mason, why don't you provide a feedback to whoever you're dealing with and just put this on the 9/16 agenda for a follow-up. You can just give us a status, and at a minimum, I'm trying to get out of the sun here so I don't look like I'm. There'll be a day in the near future I'll be wishing the sun was still out at this hour. I mean, I think the feedback is at a minimum, it's going to be a separate IDA, but there's going to have to be specific detail, a site plan tying in all the properties and then identifying the extent of the Phragmites that are going to be treated, and then the plan of action. So some of that may just be what they were doing on the one that the refuge got, but I think you get the drift of what we're looking for at a minimum. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions on this one? Okay, thank you. Okay, next order of business is a continued public hearing, DEP file number 0501-447, 2 Plum Island Boulevard. The applicant is submitting a notice of intent to demolish existing structures on the property and construct residential townhomes within piled supported buildings. This project is located in a barrier beach within a 100-foot salt marsh buffer. And so Mason, why don't you give us a quick update on where we're at on this one?
Yeah, so from the discussion from last meeting, we had talked about how they would go back to zoning and have another zoning meeting to hopefully kind of finalize some of their plans and ideas that they are presenting towards us. They've since been to the select board to get approval for the use of the town-owned property for a mitigation area. And they are in front of us tonight for the board to reconsider the peer review request.
Okay, so I guess the question before us is, at the last meeting, we made a suggestion, I think it was Jeff Roloff was making the presentation, that get through your ZBA, and unfortunately the meeting, I think, got canceled that was scheduled. And then come back to us and we'd reconsider the peer review, and then on the 16th, consider the project in its whole. I'll be honest, with all the submittals that we've received and the documentation and then the reduction in scope, I'm pretty comfortable considering removing the need for a peer review on this. But why don't we start there? And Mary, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree with you.
Okay. Mick, what are your thoughts?
I was just gonna ask, Mason, you said about using town-owned property as a mitigation area. What exactly is that?
Mick, I'm gonna make a suggestion. If we can deal with the peer review, then
Okay.
they can go forward and make a presentation. If we don't eliminate that, they can't say anything to us.
Okay, all
So,
right,
so I think step one is if we can, come to a consensus on the reconsideration of the peer review, then.
okay,
So,
all right,
all
fine.
right, anything else on that then?
Nope, nope, nothing else.
All right, Woody, what are your thoughts on reconsidering peer review?
I got knocked off for a minute here. We're on 2 Plum Island Boulevard.
We're on 2 Plum Island Boulevard. We kind of did a recap, Woody, on the last meeting. And the way it was set up the last time was they were going to get through ZBA, which was going to happen a week and a half ago, but that meeting got canceled. And so the matter before us tonight is reconsideration of the request for peer review.
Okay.
And basically the consensus was that due to the downsizing of the project and the amount of detail, additional information they've submitted, it's a far different project than when they started 5 or 6 months ago. So
Yeah,
the question
is.
is, do we want to consider removing the requirement for peer review? So that's where we're at right now.
Yep, with it being scaled down, we could, yes.
Okay. Harry, what are your thoughts on this?
I have no questions at this time. I agree with you, Bob. That, no peer review is needed.
Okay, Frank, how about you? Any thoughts on that?
What was the purpose of the peer review originally?
Yeah, originally, Frank, they had 4 condos going in. It was there are a number of factors that it was above and beyond our normal scope of what we deal with on the island. There were some concerns about the administrative consent order that had been issued, which had restrictions. There are a number of things that it just seemed prudent that having peer review and getting this done right was the intent. And now this is really back to more traditional. The only difference is they're basically entitled to a single family home and an additional dwelling unit. Because of the mitigation and the abandonment of the non-conforming use, the ZBA is considering two units. Okay, but the footprint is dramatically smaller, the extensive plantings and vegetation. So
Okay.
I just think, this is within our normal wheelhouse and decisions that we make, and it, I don't want to have an undue burden on the applicant.
No, I agree. I don't think it's necessary. It's a pretty straightforward project.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion to rescind the peer review request.
So moved.
Okay, Harry? Mick, Mick, you're frozen. Either that or you had a stroke.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Okay, roll call vote. All in favor? Mary?
Yes,
Woody?
looks like he dropped out.
Okay. Mick?
Yes,
Harry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
And Bob Carter. Well, we have a quorum. So Patrick, welcome. Now that we no longer have peer review, why don't you give us an update of where you're at with the ZBA and on the project itself?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's Patrick Seekamp of Seekamp Environmental Consulting. On the call tonight is also Stephen Sawyer from Millennium Engineering and Nick Cracknell, kind of our project coordinators. So I actually probably am going to defer to Steve in a second to give you the update on the ZBA meetings. I have not been part of attendance at those, but I just want to say I appreciate the commission's consideration on no peer review. As you know, we did get a second round of comments from the DEP, which basically said they had no further comments. So I think all the project direction is going in the right direction. We've put a lot of effort into actually making this corner of Sunset and Plum Island Boulevard a little more user-friendly, a little more environmentally friendly. We have one question came up about the mitigation. We have a pretty robust coastal dune restoration proposal. We have approached the selectmen for consent on doing a big chunk of that mitigation restoration on town-owned land. They have weighed back that they are on board with the consent for that. So I think we have a much better project than the first time that you guys have had an opportunity to take a look at this. And a lot of our proposal really enhances the environmental benefits of this area. And so I guess with that, I would turn it over to either Steve or Nick to kind of give you an update on the ZBA considerations at this point. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, Steve Sawyer with Millennium. If you want, I could just briefly share a screen and just show where we're at. As far as I did meet with the DPW director regarding improvements within the public right of way, and he did have a comment regarding, we originally were proposing a standard a wooden boardwalk type sidewalk. He would prefer a paved sidewalk. I can may I share? I think I can share. Yeah, I'm still allowed to share. All right. So originally, Patrick had a nice a wooden boardwalk, which is more typical for a barrier island application. But, given the area along Plum Island Boulevard, most of the sidewalks are all paved. So it was James Surratt. He said, he said it's not the end. He would accept it if bituminous wasn't allowed, he would understand. So this public sidewalk to pick up this parking on the opposite side of the street, this public sidewalk would be, he'd prefer this to be paved as we wind through around the corner from Sunset to Plum Island Boulevard. That's his preference. It sounds as if, he said regarding maintenance, he said he should have like a bobcat with a sweeper to maintain out there needed. Our thought was if you have a raised boardwalk that's slightly raised on boards underneath, the sand has a little bit of opportunity to move below. So that's where we're at regarding review with the DPW. And I think there was a question regarding the ask at the Board of Selectmen. The select board was there. If you can see on this plan, you see the red, that's the existing restaurant. And currently the owner, Mark Frary, has a right to park, basically parks in the right of way, which it had been done for 40 years, 50. It's been done for many, many years. And as with the restaurant use, he has the right for parking out in the right of way. With the residential use, converting to residential use, we don't need that anymore. So without the need for parking, all of a sudden, when we came in, we just said, well, here's our property line. We'll just cut it. We'll just improve our land, and then the town can figure out what's going out there. With this new proposal, as we came in, we said, well, we can't. The town they were concerned, like, okay, what's going to happen to this no man's land and this triangular piece of land? It's 3,000 square feet of land, which typically when we do minor improvements in the right of way, you don't need it. It's sort of right at the driveway area. This is a large chunk of land that we are improving. So we're creating probably a little 2-foot high dune with dune grass and native vegetation. If you want to get into the details, Patrick can share that. And some minor humps here, little restoration of the back dune here with the sidewalk running around and then running through this area. And then we're we're carving the pavement. What we're doing here is, so there's a current stop, this is the existing stop line. There's a curbed island here with a stop sign. This is all getting ripped out and we're cleaning up this intersection. So it's a more formal intersection rather than the sea of pavement. So this was the reason to go ask the select board to include this restoration as part of our project. And Mark's on board for making these, with the approval of the ZBA and the ZBA and conservation. Mark Furry, the owner, will be making these improvements as part of the project. So that's where we're at. We're going back. I believe it's September 8th. We go back. I believe we go back September 8th to the ZBA, and hopefully we'll be successful at that meeting. And then we'll come back once we until we get our ZBA approval. It doesn't really make sense to push this any further. So that's where we're at.
Okay, so just a couple of thoughts. Stephen, when you do the mitigation of existing to proposed, clearly define what's on town property, what's on this property, just so we can keep track of it. The proposed sidewalk, that's really all over existing pavement we have now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
So just living out here and knowing what it's like in the winter, and that is a busy corner. If you could calculate the mitigation on removing of hard structures and surfaces and include the paved sidewalk that the DPW has softly requested, if it's in table form, it just gives us an opportunity to, to make a determination.
Yeah, I think I had so I actually updated the tables, I believe. So I broke out town property improvements and proposed. I'm actually, to be honest, Bob, this was updated, and I'm not sure this was updated because this was a recent request, and I don't believe I've submitted. You have not seen this yet.
Okay. Well, I think the good thing, Steve, is you don't need peer review.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. You really don't need to come back to us. I prefer you not come back to us until you're all set with ZBA. I think this is the 15th or 16th time you've been before the commission, on 3 projects. So we'd like to wrap this up in one more meeting.
Yeah, and so I'll have that all tabulated and submitted, well before the requirement, and then at that meeting we can make the determination whether you're okay with it as bituminous, whether the impact numbers work, or whether let's we prefer the wood boardwalk, but that would be great.
Yeah, I just don't see a wood boardwalk in a public setting. It's more of a private yard setting.
Can I make a couple of comments?
Yeah, I'm going to open it up to
good.
everyone right now, Mary.
Great, thanks.
So, Mary, what are your thoughts and questions?
Before you come back to us, Steve, if you could make sure that DEP has updated plans in case they have updated comments, especially about the pavement, so that we know where they stand on that. Also, my question is whether or not the project site has expanded as part of this renovation, and if so, do we need to adjust butter notifications accordingly? And we would need to get a signature from as owner from the town, or some kind of letter saying that they agree to the filing of this notice of intent, because now you have additional project owners as part of the overall NOI. So just administratively, we're going to have an order of conditions that's going to apply to, it would apply to both lots, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Mary, anything else? I'll circle back on this too. So
Yeah, just those administrative things. Thanks.
Okay, Woody, what are your thoughts on this? Actually, Woody, where are you at on the planning board with this? This isn't even before you.
No, it's still tied. It's been tied up in ZBA.
Okay.
Actually, I can chime in on this. This will not go to the planning board.
Okay.
Because it's two units, it's not required to go before the planning board.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
The
Woody,
ZBA decision would stick there. And no, I don't have any other comments or questions. I keep getting kicked out, so I may disappear again.
All right, Mick, any questions on this one for
Nope.
Stephen?
No, all set, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mick. Harry, any questions for Stephen on this one? You're on mute,
Yep.
Harry.
All set.
Okay, thank you. Frank, how about yourself? Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, I have no questions. So Stephen, I'm gonna take, Mary, do you have any follow-up questions before I?
Just for Patrick, with the final, whatever comes back to us again, a planting plan with the, for the mitigation area would be great. With a list of,
Yes.
what's proposed,
Yeah,
if
we
it's
have
not
a-
already done yet.
It's,
Okay,
we do, we have a very pretty detailed landscape planting
awesome.
plan. with
Yeah, it looks
all-
great.
All the
Okay.
species and sizes, Mary, I appreciate that. Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, so Stephen, I'm anticipating that the applicant is gonna request a continuance to our September 16th meeting.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll just go from there. If you're not
Yeah,
ready to go,
hopefully.
just let Mason call Mason before the meeting, and then no one has to show up and see if we can
Yeah,
get this
okay.
finally resolved.
I think we should, yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll close things out on, with the ZBA on the 8th, and then, probably once we close that out, we know we're okay, we'll submit all our updated conservation plans, which, for that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to our 9/16/25 meeting at the applicant's request.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call, all in favor? Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
Yes.
Mick?
Aye.
Harry?
Yes.
Frank?
yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. All right, thank you, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay, great. Okay, next matter, DEP file number 0501451, 25 Harvard Way. Applicant is submitting a notice of intent for the construction of additions and renovations to an existing single-family dwelling. Improvements included expanded deck and a new stair systems. Mason, can you give us an overview? Is this being continued at their request? You're on mute too, Mason.
Steve had requested a continuance. They're gonna be going through zoning and then they'll be back with us.
Okay. Yeah, we did a site visit out there and I think we have a pretty clear idea what they're trying to do, so. All right, I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing at the applicant's request to our 9/16/25 meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call. All in favor? Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
Yes.
Mick?
Aye.
Harry?
Yes.
Frank?
yes.
Bob Connors votes yes. All right, we have an amendment request, DEP file number 050-138444 Middle Road. Applicant is submitting a request for an amendment to alter the specifications of a home, driveway, and garage area. Mason, can you provide us with an overview on this and a recommendation?
Yeah, so where we left off last, the board wanted to go, some of us wanted to go out to get some eyes on the site, and we also wanted Hancock to reflag some of the nearest wetland flags, as well as stake out some of the corners of the houses and decks and things like that. Since then, they've been able to do it. Mary and I were able to visit the site, look at the wetland flags, and the staked corners of the houses, or the house and the garage. And I had talked with the applicant, and he wanted to bring up something that was mentioned in one of the special conditions on the original order, that prohibited any work from happening between November and March. So they've provided the flags and the stakes. They've also provided a narrative addressing the stream crossing standards. And then I think they want to discuss the possibility of doing work over the winter time, with the overview of an environmental monitor.
I'm just curious, why would there be is there any priority habitat or anything like that that would require a?
No,
Mary,
it's
do
just
you
a
remember?
it was a really difficult site to work in,
Okay.
and narrow work limits and a lot of blasting or soil disturbance that was going to be needed to work on this site. I think that was the reason.
Okay.
and not wanting to have a lot of soil exposed over the winter that couldn't be stabilized, because there is a pretty decent slope down to the wetland. In this case, that's my recollection, but I would be okay with the modification as Mason described it, provided there's, the applicant provides weekly monitoring reports from a qualified environmental monitor for the purpose of erosion control stabilization, and making sure that the activities stay within the limit of work. Which is going to be a little tricky there.
Okay. All right, well, why don't we do this? Jay, are you making the presentation?
Yeah, sure. So good evening, Jay Blackridge with Hancock Associates. As Mason mentioned, the commission had a chance to go out to the site last week. We issued some updated plans from based on comments from the commission from the first meeting, as well as the stream crossing standards memo. A lot of that information was actually included in supplemental information back in 2022, but we just put it in a easier to read format. And yeah, let's see, any other updates? Oh, the other updates we have is the Board of Health officially approved the septic updates. We just had to relocate the tank because the house footprint changed, so we had to just move it to be 10 feet off the new house. But with that, I can answer any other questions the commission may have.
Have you provided an updated plan with the tank relocation?
Yeah, so the tanks that we or the plans that we had submitted at the beginning of this amendment process show the tank in the correct location.
Okay. All right, why don't I stop there and open this up to questions for the members? Mary, questions on this one?
Well, I think that the impacts associated with this work are relatively similar to what was originally approved.
Right.
So I don't have an objection to the amendment to the house, for the house design. The most significant change was a drain that was discharging directly towards the wetland, but that can be restored, once it's installed. I think the area around it that's disturbed for the excavation can be restored. So I'm okay with the amendment.
Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we handle the amendment and then the request to eliminate one of the conditions? That way we'll get through one, then we can combine it as a vote. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, Woody, we're gonna go around and do on the amendment that's been submitted, and then we'll go back around to everybody on the request to eliminate one of the conditions.
Okay, I don't have any questions or comments.
Okay. Mick, any questions or comments on this one?
All set for right now, Bob. Thank you.
Okay, Harry, any questions or
Nope.
comments on this one?
Not at this time.
Thank you, Harry. Frank, how about you? Any questions or comments?
I'm not really familiar with this project, so I'll defer to Mary's comments.
Okay. We get a lot of that, Mary.
This one goes back a little
Yeah,
way.
yeah, no, I remember
Yeah.
walking the site, and it is it's gonna be a beautiful home site at some point, but it's a challenge to get.
I'm not sure, do we even have a quorum to vote on this?
Yeah, we
Of
have,
people that that are able to vote on it? Because it's a continuing project?
well, the amendment is a new application, right? It's
Yeah,
treated,
okay.
yeah, so I
Look at
mean,
it that way. All right.
so I would look at it, the submittal date of the amendment would be, the actionable date, although it doesn't change, won't change their date, of completion.
When it expires, right?
Right. Okay, so I think that we reached a consensus that we're in agreement on the amendment. So now, Jay, why don't you go over what is the request that you want to have us reconsider on the condition?
So we want to be able to do some initial clearing within the limit of work in the winter while the ground is frozen. It'll be easier for access to the site, easier to cut down the trees, and easier to get them off the site. We think that it'll be less disturbance when the ground is frozen. It will get muddy out there in the spring, so the ground is solid. It'll be easier for vehicles to get in and out.
Okay, Can you put together kind of a plan of action, how you're going to monitor your erosion controls? You know, Mary, why don't you restate what you were thinking that
Yeah, I think that maybe just a winter stabilization plan would,
would suffice?
be helpful, and who's gonna be responsible for it. And that can be something I think that could be submitted directly to Mason for his review, and if it
Yeah.
seems reasonable to him that just, I think, having extra eyes and then a little extra thought into how this work can be done without making a big mess, which is possible if without some care.
Yep, that's something that we can handle, and yeah,
Okay.
we'd like that to be a condition of approval, and we can
Okay.
run it by Mason.
Okay.
Okay, Woody, any questions? Now we're talking about the revoke, eliminating the condition on the restriction of time.
No, I don't have any questions on that. I think with the ground frozen, it would be helpful.
Okay. Mick, any questions or concerns on that?
Not super familiar with the property, but Jay, is it different trees that are gonna be removed or just a different timing? So
Just the timing, it's mostly relative to the ground being frozen.
I think
May not happen
usually
in
better to
November.
do tree removal when the ground's frozen, but that's my thoughts. Yep.
Okay. Harry, any questions or concerns for Jay on this one?
Not at this time, Bob.
Okay. And Frank, any
No,
questions or
No
concerns?
questions, thanks.
Okay, Mary, just restate what you're looking to have added as a condition. You called it a
A
winter.
winter stabilization plan.
Okay.
And I assume, Jay, I understand what I'm looking for, just, a construction sequence in terms of how the work is going to be done to maintain soil stability and who will be the monitor for that.
Yep, we can handle that.
Okay. And I would assume that we're going to need minimum weekly monitoring during that phase of construction.
Okay.
Okay, does anyone else from the commission have any further questions? Okay. Mason, are there any raised hands from the public at this time? Okay, do any members have a request for a site visit or additional information to this notice of intent? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Frank? Okay, roll call. All in favor, Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
Yes.
Mick?
Aye.
Harry?
Yes.
Frank? And Bob
Yes.
Connors votes yes. All right, so why don't we talk about, are there any other conditions we want to add to this amendment? In reviewing the file, it looks like everything, the original conditions that were included, incorporated, seem to cover everything that we typically would look for.
I think that including that condition that we just discussed,
Right,
but
yeah.
in addition, yeah.
Okay.
So that's incorporated into
The
the
order,
amendment.
yeah.
And I think we also talked about that this new Permit Extension Act would apply to this order of conditions. So you do have additional time built into this. So it's additional 2 years from the expiration date. Because I think it's if it was valid in January 1st, 2025, which it was, it will get 2 extra years.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions or any other conditions they want to consider? Mick?
No, just to clarify, so we're gonna set end date or start date, end date for winter work and when winter stabilization needs to be in place, correct? So there'll be a date at which they can't remove trees under.
No, they have an ability to work anytime they want, but if they work within the time of year window restriction that was set in the original order, they need to do these winter stabilization measures.
Okay, so
And monitoring. Yeah.
like winter stabilization period is already set.
Yep, in
Okay.
the order, yep.
Yep, okay, great.
Okay. Frank, any other thoughts or comments you want to have us consider?
All set.
Okay, Woody, how about you? Any other?
Nope.
Harry, how about yourself?
Yep,
Any-
all set.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion to issue an amended order of conditions for 44 Middle Street with the additional condition of a winter stabilization plan. What was the dates that we had it's restricted now?
I think
No.
November 1 to March 1. Not sure.
Okay. I just want to make sure we get this. You're gonna get it right anyway, Mason, but
Yeah, I'll make sure to add the dates in there.
yeah. Okay. Anything else before we vote on this? So the goal is to allow work to be done during that winter stabilization period, subject to the stabilization plan that's going to be submitted. And it's approved by you, Mason. Okay, so. All right, so we have that motion. Who wants to
So
make the
moved.
motion? Second?
Second?
Okay, Mick. Roll call, all in favor? Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes,
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Good luck, guys.
Great. Thank you. Have a nice night.
Yeah.
Okay. Something tells me you're anxious to get in this house.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
thank
All
you,
right,
guys.
good luck, guys. Okay, next matter is it's a new public hearing. This does not have a DEP file number unless that has come in.
It does now.
Okay,
It's,
what is it? I just want to make a notation of it.
Yep, 1 second.
Maureen has that up at the top of it.
050-1453.
Okay. Okay, applicant is submitting a notice of intent for construction MBTA residential housing development at 34 Central Street. Mason, you want to provide an overview? You want to just let Maureen give us an update, what's going on?
So I'm recusing myself from this
Oh,
project.
okay, that's right, that's right.
Heidi's on board. If she wants to give an overview to begin, she can, but I'll just.
Oh, good evening, Heidi.
Good evening. I'm Heidi Gaffney with Northwoods Environmental. Just coming on to this project, so I'm in the beginning of the review. So I will hand it off to Maureen for the overview. Just a procedural note that I noticed. The original application didn't have the owner signatures, and we've since received the owner signature form. However, I noticed there's only one owner signature on there, and the deed is in tenants by entirety, and I believe both owners need to sign the form for the owner signature.
I agree. Thank you, Heidi. Maureen, good evening. Just give us your name and your
Sure.
function on this
My
project.
name's Maureen Harold from Norse Environmental Services. Heidi, we're more than happy to provide the additional signature. That's not a problem. Can I bring in the plans? Will
Yeah,
that?
certainly. Yeah, if you want.
Okay. So as the chairman mentioned, this is an MBTA community multifamily residential development. The zoning actually allows up to 80 residential units. However, we're proposing about half that, or 44 units. The development in total consists of 12 buildings and 44 townhomes. 10% will be market rate. The project is going to be serviced by town water, private septic system, and proposes 61.5% open space. A number of amenities, as well as a garden and dog park and walking trails. And in addition to that, we're proposing to improve and correct Central Court, which is located over here. Regarding what's within conservation's purview, this is the 100-foot buffer zone that's shown on the plan. It continues down. I'm gonna flip to the next page. So here's that unit 2, continues further down into the septic field. The orange on the plan is the erosion controls, and the green is the bordering vegetated wetlands. So the NOI proposes 4 residential buildings, decks, patios, driveways, a portion of the roadway, landscaping, the private septic system, drainage, grading, and associated utilities within the 100-foot buffer zone of the BVW. The commission may recall we had filed an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation to confirm and set the resource areas on this property. And that was done earlier this year, April of 2025. And that's included in the filing. I'm going to bring up the off-site improvements. Central Court's here. The proposed project is located in this location. We're proposing to correct the roadway intersection, as you can see. Again, that's located within the 100-foot buffer zone of the bordering vegetated wetland, and it's included in this filing. Correct the intersection and incorporate a crosswalk and sidewalks. But I think before we get into the meat and bones of the proposal, I'm requesting the commission to discuss an alternative roadway layout. So this project has been in front of planning board, I think for a couple of months now. I have not been involved in the planning board process, but have been speaking to the team about it. And Woody, correct me if I'm wrong or I make any misstatements as you're part of the planning board. But my understanding is the planning board had asked the team to investigate a possible alternative roadway layout. And that's what's shown on the screen right now. So the alternative roadway layout, this is Central Court. We would have a one-way entrance into the project site and a one-way exit out of the project site onto Central Court. This alternative roadway layout would involve impact to the bordering vegetated wetland and the intermittent stream. In my opinion, in the way that DEP would look at this, is that this would be considered a discretional fill or alteration to the resource areas, because we do have an alternative access that doesn't require any impact to the bordering vegetated wetland or the intermittent stream. DEP has a policy that says you need to avoid, minimize, and mitigate. The developers, essentially, they're happy to provide whatever roadway layout that we can do that works for the town. But for discussion purposes, we'd just like to get an idea of what the commission's thoughts are on this alternative layout. Is this permittable? Is this something that you would allow? And possibly start that discussion and walk away this evening with an idea of where the commission stands with that.
Okay, thank you, Maureen. Woody, why don't you give us an update on the planning board, where we're at with the planning board and the concerns of the need for this additional access egress to the property, if you would.
Yes, so what, with the traffic consultants both up here and the traffic consultant with the applicant. Basically, right now, having the plan that's not in front of us, having the one two-way in and out has a failing grade for line of sight for exiting this project. So in a nutshell, they're proposing cutting into the buffer and making the line of sight better, which would be a barely passing grade of I believe it was 312 feet. They need 300 feet. So we've encouraged the applicant to look at this plan here that we have on the screen. So that it would, you come out onto Central Court, you get to the end of Central Court, which has been proposed to be reconfigured, so you're 90 degrees to Central Street. Where that little blue car is, I believe it's blue in the front car there, your line of sight is so much better and passable looking up to the east. So away from the highway to your right, as you were coming out of Central Court. And for safety reasons and for the average speed of vehicles there and reaction times and everything, I'm in support of this plan that's before us because it would be so much safer and wouldn't interrupt the buffer or the neighbors to the east. So
What's the speed limit? What's the speed limit, Woody, on Central Street?
I believe it's 35, and both traffic consultants confirmed that. I believe coming from the highway, the average speed was 38, and going towards the highway, the average speed was 37, and I might have that backwards. So,
But I
but
think we
there's
get the drift.
Yep, and there's a corner there, there's a line of sight problem exiting this project, if it would remained a two-way street, a two-way driveway to get in and out.
I can bring that up, Woody.
Yeah.
Maureen, what was the daily traffic count anticipated on this? It just.
Oh, that's a
I should know that, I forget.
I actually have not seen the traffic report. Jerry Welch, are you on the call? He's the applicant.
I mean, my quick overview is, has the fire department, the police departments issued any finding on this from a public safety or, with the traffic count going in and out, or, because I think without something that requires this for public safety, I mean, Maureen, you're 100% right. It's discretionary, and if you've already got an access, it's going to be hard to convince DEP if it's not a requirement by the town at either the public safety level, at the police and fire. At least that's my thought. I'm not sure of that. But why don't I do this? Why don't we hold all the presentations, and let's open this up to the members for questions. Mary, what's your thoughts on this? And you're certainly the resident expert on wetland crossing.
Yeah, I mean, Maureen has a point that, that it would be considered discretionary under the current land options now. However, if the other access directly onto Central Street is unavailable because the plan is denied by the planning board, or there's some other compelling evidence that option is really not available logistically or for safety reasons, then they don't really have they don't have an alternative access. But I think we can't make that determination. The Conservation Commission, we would have to wait until the planning board made a determination on that effect. And I don't know, I would be curious to hear Heidi's opinion on this, as well as our technical consultant in Mason's absence on this, whether or not, she would agree with that.
Yes. So yes, you basically said what I was thinking, is that typically, because the way the regulations, as Maureen said, there has to be no other alternative, and the burden of proof is on the applicant. Typically, that's in the form of a denial, not specific to this project. I haven't looked into this alternative at all, but when you're looking to cross a wetland or have wetland impacts, the metric to get there is denial from whether it's planning or zoning, whatever the project may be. And I would, be wary of too much discussion ahead of time in case this did end up coming to the commission in a formal capacity.
Yeah, and the alternatives, you'd have to make sure all the alternatives surrounding the entire project site were considered, including even the potential for purchasing easements on adjacent properties and things like that,
Exactly.
to weigh to make sure there isn't any other choice. And if it came down to that was the only way to access developable land, for the applicant, then yes, that could be permitted under a limited project provision.
But usually those, I mean, as you said, those, aside from the denial is just the start of it. Then there's all of the other pieces. Is there easements? Is there correction of the roadway? Is there other ways to get whatever the denial reason is? Is there other means around it? All of that would have to be exhausted.
Yep.
Okay. Maureen, do you want to respond to that discussion or?
Actually have a question for Woody. Woody, do you know if anyone from the fire department has weighed into this design or provided an email or?
No, I don't believe they have. It's something that needs to be, but I know that fire did say at some point, that it has to be 22, and they did their fire truck calculation, but as far as weighing in on the second, one way in and one way out, they haven't been presented with it, but it could be in the works. So.
Okay.
So Maureen, basically, you're going to seek a continuance tonight. This is just kind of give us a status update at this point till you sort through all this.
Right. So it was just basically more or less to get a feel from the commission of what your initial thoughts were of the alternative roadway design, so that my client can go back to planning board, which I think is tomorrow night, and just provide the planning board with an update.
I think Heidi has given you the criteria for the next step for us to consider the crossing.
Okay, so we either need a denial from the planning board or a letter from the fire department stating that the current roadway as designed is not acceptable for whatever reasons. Possible easements. And then, of course, going through the entire process, the alternative analysis, the limited project crossing, incorporating a box culvert or meeting the stream crossing standards.
And
Heidi, anything
mitigation,
else?
replication. Well, yeah, I mean, mitigation, replication, but before you even got there, and I understand the wanting to streamline things and not file back and forth with different plans. I understand that, but I think it would need to get to the point where, and I have not seen any of the planning. I have not seen any of the traffic reports, but I think it would need to get to the point where planning, possibly was at the point of denial and, maybe continued at that point, and then the applicant would need to submit either probably actually with that drastic a change, a new notice of intent, seeking that, they could hold open planning, submit a new notice of intent, go through the process. But at that point, conservation really would need that denial, as well as all those other pieces in order to prove that there's no alternative. It gets very complex, as far as trying to, you really need to go through the process with planning and vet it fully, honestly.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And you answered my question about the administrative aspect of it. The commission would want a new notice of intent rather than amending the filing for the crossing.
Yeah, a new notice would be needed for that large of a change, because you have to re-notify and you can't amend an open order. So it would be a resubmittal with new notice because you'd have additional work and impacts that weren't in the first notice.
Okay, fair enough. We were hoping to get some sort of email from someone in the fire department. Of course, it's the day after Labor Day, so that was an uphill battle, but hopefully we can get some feedback from the fire department, to support the claim that the roadway doesn't work.
It may not be the fire department's purview either, so that
But it may assist the planning board in their
it could
ultimate.
assist.
Yeah,
You're right.
their ultimate decision.
Yep.
so.
Yeah, I mean, I would think fire, police might be supporting elements, but I'm assuming the planning board has a consultant that is doing traffic study and things like that. It would probably be their peer review consultant that's doing traffic that would be their ultimate resource.
Okay.
Let me do this, just so the other members have any questions. Harry, do you have any questions on this? I know this is a lot to process.
Not at this time, Bob.
Okay, Mick, how about you? Any questions?
Sounds like there's a lot of things in flux here.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is moving
I-
tiger.
No, and I appreciate Barry and Maureen, great summaries, but like too many things in flux here to really make a comment or a question.
I think Heidi has provided some good guidance for the
Yes.
applicant on if this is the path you're going to choose, the minimum hurdles you're gonna face.
Yeah,
Woody, you
agreed.
want to add anything
Thank
else
you.
on this? Thank you, Mick.
No, I know that they've reached out to fire, and I don't know about police, but we've also got a meeting with traffic consultants, so this may progress. I don't know.
Okay,
We're also meeting with the applicant tomorrow night.
okay. All right, well, Woody, anything else?
No,
Okay, thank you, Woody. Frank, any comments on this?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. I don't have any comments. So Maureen, I'm anticipating you're gonna request a continuance to our September 16th meeting.
I think we're probably gonna need a month. I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah, no, that's, so why don't we go to, what's the first one in October, actually?
October 7th.
Okay,
Just so that if I need to refile, I have the time.
Yep.
And I'm not sure which avenue the project will go, but
okay.
all right, excellent.
So you're requesting a continuance to our October 7th meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to October 7th at the applicant's request.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, roll call, all in favor. Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
yes.
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank, and Bob
Yes.
Connor. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you,
Thank you.
Heidi.
Have a good night.
Okay,
Good night.
we're getting towards the end of the pile here. It's pretty full agenda tonight. Okay, we have another new public hearing. Newbury Conservation Commission is holding a public hearing for the adoption of a regulation that will allow the board to exercise its right to request third-party review for non-Plum Island projects that are technical and require additional outside consultation. Team, the whole reason behind this may very well exist, but no one could find an actual adoption of a particular Mass General law. I think the town's been operating under the premise, but you know what, we just kind of want to keep all the paperwork clean, and this was actually at the recommendation of town council. Unless we could go back and find the particular adoption, the date and the vote, this seemed to be the cleanest way to do it. So basically all this does is adopt a Mass General law that gives us the right, as any planning board could do this, ZBA, Board of Health, anyone could do this, just by adopting this particular Mass General law. So why don't I stop there, and questions? Mary, any questions on this?
No.
Okay. Woody, any questions?
No questions. Thanks, Bob.
Mick, any questions?
Well, does the existing law does it exclude anything that's not frontal dune?
Well, Plum Island has a bylaw, and it's incorporated in that bylaw. The rest of the town doesn't have a wetland bylaw.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can still adopt peer review. and honestly, it's probably been done, Mick, but no one could put the finger on it, and it.
It's
and
under
I-
this, it's under the state Wetland
Yeah.
Protection Act that we're trying to get the peer review for. The ability to do peer reviews.
Honestly,
Under
all
the
makes sense.
not,
All
yeah,
makes
not the
sense.
not the bylaw, yeah.
Yeah, no, we have to
makes sense.
adopt a Mass General Law. It's
Yep.
chapter 44, section 53G. What the WPA says is, if you want that, you have to
You
adopt.
have to adopt this bylaw.
Yeah,
yeah.
so it takes,
okay. I-
yeah, so
That nuance,
you
right?
actually have to adopt it, and, you know, the complexities of all that, but, does anyone else have a question on this? Mason, you have any comments on this?
Nope.
Okay, are there any raised hands from the public at this time?
Seeing none.
Okay, do any members have requests for any additional information or clarification?
Nope.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay,
Second.
okay, so that's going to be Harry and Mick. Roll call, all in favor? Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and Bob Connors. Okay, I will entertain a motion to adopt the following regulation. The commission shall be permitted to engage peer review consultants in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53G, for which the applicant will be required to deposit into escrow funds sufficient to cover costs of peer review consultants.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, so Harry, Mick. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, roll call, all in favor. Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Mary, thank you. For the heads up on this, that the best way to go on this was to do it as a public hearing and not administratively.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And I think that we probably just, Mason probably need to provide the town clerk with a copy.
Okay. Yep.
Just
And
as a
you-
record
and
of that.
and he's going to put it on our webpage so that we never have to go looking for it again.
Okay.
Okay, general project discussion.
One sec, Bob. We have one more project. It's they've notified and they have everything in. I just added it to the agenda late. It's 243A High Road, excuse me.
Okay, and what is it for?
It's an ANRAD, so they're confirming resource areas on the property that's just off of High Road.
Is that on the agenda? Because
I think I had missed it at first and then it made it once I had amended the agenda.
okay. All right, well, why don't you give us an overview, Mason, and we'll.
Yeah, so it's off of High Road. Mary and I were able to actually do the site walk and check out all the wetland flags. We were looking at some vegetation and did some soil testing as well. From what we saw, it was accurate for the most part. I believe that we made notes on the last 3 flags and that they should be moved about 10 feet. The first 2 we had written to move 10 feet upland, and then the last one was 12 feet upland. I had reached out to the applicant's representative after that to see if they would concede the line and make those changes. And he said that he was actually anticipating that request. So he had changed those 3 flags and sent over the updated plans.
Okay, can you post the plan?
Yeah.
So Mary, you were on the site visit and
Yeah, it's a narrow lot.
Yeah.
And it's a big open meadow field that slopes down to the back. And there's a
Okay.
wetland that drains into a pond
At the back.
off-site, and there's a pretty decent break in slope, right where the wetland starts, and a good change in soil conditions. So I feel pretty comfortable that, we've encompassed at least one side of this wetland.
Mhm.
So you can see where flags 101 to 110, when it looks like it needs to extend to the property line too. Doesn't quite make it to the property line, but we didn't flag the other side of this wetland, just the side closest to wherever the activity is gonna be proposed. Maybe the activity will be outside of the buffer zone and we won't see a filing for this.
Okay. So there's no need for peer review on this, Anne?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. All right, questions from the members? Well, actually, is the
Does this
applicant here?
Is this reflecting the changed delineation?
I believe
Yes,
so.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, if the applicant's representative would give us his name and title and then make his presentation and. go
Sure,
from there.
Terry Ryan, Applewood Survey. Not only the representative, my wife and I are looking at purchasing this property right now.
Okay.
We'd like to build a house on there. Our best efforts would be to stay out of the buffer zone originally. I've done a preliminary sketch of where the septic system's going to go on this, and we're scheduled to do soil testing on Thursday. We're staying outside the buffer zone. I staked the buffer zone this morning, so we'll stay outside of that when we do the soil testing. I'm trying to avoid a pump system on this thing, which is why I want to put the system as far back as I can. We're also up against, I would rather not go through stormwater management, so we really don't want to push back towards the wetlands very much at all, because we're going to hit that 1 acre threshold fairly quickly there too. So the house is probably going to sit up around contour 27 or so. Yeah, right in there. The septic system will sit back towards the buffer zone itself. Again, just trying to make use of the drop in the grade going back down there to eliminate a pump system for the septic system out there. With regard to the additional flag that was mentioned to go to the edge of the lot line, my guess is that flag would probably follow the contours back to that pipe, and I have no clue why that pipe is there, because it's really not doing anything.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah, but the 100-foot buffer, there's one big curve that runs right around there that I actually labeled the 100-foot buffer on. I don't think that's going to change much by adding that additional flag over to the edge there. But if you want it in, I'll put it anywhere you want over there.
No, I think you're right. I think it goes right towards the culvert, up towards that pipe. So it wouldn't change your buffer line.
Okay. Questions? Woody, any questions for Terry on this one?
This lot was before the planning board a few years ago with a curb cut and created behind Carol DeRocks, just so I orientate. Correct.
Her property is up, yeah, right in there.
Okay. Yep. All right. Nope, I don't have any other questions. I just want to make sure this was the same one that got subdivided a few years ago.
Okay.
This lot was created a few years ago. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you, Woody. Mick, questions for Terry on this?
No, looks pretty straightforward. We've had eyes in the field on it, so I think that's good. I'm all set.
Okay, thank you, Mick. Harry, any questions on this one?
No, not at this time.
Okay, Frank, any questions on this one?
No,
Frank, you probably drive by this going home every day.
I do.
Okay, I don't have any questions. Mason, are there any, with this a public hearing, are there any raised hands from the public?
Seeing none.
Okay,
Do we have a file number?
Yes, we do. I posted the agenda a little
Okay.
early,
It's
so it may have just not
it's-
got updated.
150,
oh-
1453. I'm sorry, 050, 1453.
It says,
1452, 1452,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, I was just gonna read it off. It says 1452. Sorry.
okay, so no questions from the public? Okay, do any members have requests for additional information or a site visit? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
Yes.
Mick?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, any further discussion on, I mean, basically, we're just going to adopt the NRAD as submitted, correct? Is that what we're gonna do, Mary?
Yes, issue an
Okay.
order of resource area delineation.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to issue a resource area delineation for this address.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, thank you, Terry.
Thank you very much.
All right, so last but not least, general project discussion, 105 High Street, Seagate, this is our conservation restriction and baseline report. Mason, why don't you give us an update of where this is at?
Yeah, so earlier in this meeting, we had just closed out kind of the remaining piece of what they've been waiting on. And now they are coming to us with the conservation restriction that kind of identifies, the lay of the open space land, who's responsible for the maintenance and things like that. And then they've also provided an as-built too. So once this is approved and signed by the Conservation Commission, this will go to the select board and then back to the state for approval.
Okay. Okay, Tom Hughes, who's presenting? Are you gonna do the presentation tonight, Tom?
I'm actually going to kick it off,
Oh,
Mr. Chairman.
okay, Matt.
Yep,
Yep,
my name is
certainly.
Matt Gaines. I'm the attorney for the developer of this project.
Okay.
And as Mason said, I'll just elaborate a little bit on the background, but this all stems from the special permit that was issued a few years ago for the project. There was a requirement to do a conservation restriction on this open space land. We have been working, I think, since either 2022, I think it is, or 2023. I don't have my notes in front of me at the moment, but either 2022 or 2023, in the spring of that year was when we first started working on this conservation restriction. The town initially approved it. We then sent it up to the state. They sat on it, as the state tends to do, for a very long time. They finally got some comments back to us towards the end of last year. And then we kind of kicked it around with the town for a while. With the town had some additional comments on those comments. Long story short, everybody has now blessed this document. The state has already approved it. So, and Mason said, the state still needs to approve it. The state has already approved it. The state just needs to sign it. But they are the last party to sign it. My client has already signed it, meaning the condo association or the developer of the condo association. And part of this conservation restriction, there is this baseline report prepared, I think, by Steve Sawyer, who's also on the call, and I think Tom Hughes may know a little bit about it as well. So we're finally reached the end zone here, and all we really need to do is have the Conservation Commission officially vote, I guess, to accept this conservation restriction. They sign it, and then the selectmen sign it, then the state signs it, and we get this thing recorded, and we're all done and live happily ever after.
Okay. Tom, why don't you make your presentation? Do we have a map of, do you have a plan of this? This one with we all walked this, the bog mats and all that. Yeah, the one question I had was, I remember when this was originally approved, that there was a discussion of an annual maintenance plan to be able to maintain the bog mats beyond. Did that ever get done? And
So I
actually, 'cause
think,
Diane O'Brien was the one who made that request.
and I'm trying to remember that specific request. I believe that the bog bridges are just to be maintained as they currently are. I don't think there's, I think we submitted with the NOI materials information about it just be very light housekeeping. It would be trimming and keeping materials off the trail, including the bog bridges. And the bog bridges are really, replace a board or two as it goes. And I think that was
Who's
dealt
responsible
with during the public hearing.
But who is responsible for that upkeep and maintenance? Does that revert back?
I
to the
believe
town?
Matt can, that would be in the CR. I believe the HOA still manages
Correct.
the
Yep, the
property. It's
condo
just-
association is responsible for the
Okay,
maintenance of the
okay.
trails and everything, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, it would just
And-
be, I'd really like to have some clarity on that, just to make sure we get that covered.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the responsibility goes to the condo association. And Matt, I'm going to kind of step on your toes a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Conservation Commission becomes the town entity that essentially oversees whether or not the condo association is managing the property in accordance with the
Correct.
CR. The CR gives the public or gives the town rights in the land, keeps it from being developed, make sure that all maintenance occurs in accordance with what's in the CR. So the condo association is the one that would be on board for that. And as you may recall, the trail is a forest duff trail. We didn't do any kind of trail surface, although we did, when we did the cleanup and the wetland work at the very beginning, at the very trailhead, we did do a clamshell path up to the first bog bridge. We talked to Mason about it. We felt it was important to define that first access because the vegetation growth in that area is extreme. It just comes in. It's even grown through the clamshell, but at least it's defined it better that way. But the rest of it is just, and even the clamshell is just, it's a non-maintenance thing. It's just trimming vegetation back from the trail and removing dead branches off to the side. Now, the baseline report itself was done by Steve Sawyer. He and I certainly had a few discussions while he was doing it. So I think it might be a good idea for Steve to go through the baseline of the conditions of the site for you guys. But I think in terms of who maintains it and the actual maintenance, that's definitely on the condo association.
Yeah, I just want to make sure there's clarity on what's being maintained and then how it's being maintained.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at the CR right now, and there is language in here that talks about that the condo association is responsible to conduct routine maintenance and repair of trails, which shall be approximately 2 feet in width, and the erecting of gates to control unauthorized access to the premises.
Okay. All right, Steve, why don't you give us your baseline report overview?
All right. Let's see if I can share. I think I can share still. All right. So as part of the transition or the passing on of the open space, there's a baseline report that's required. It was submitted to both. It was submitted both to Kristen at the planning board and Mason. They provided comments. I have updated it, made some updates based on the comments, and submitted it back. So basically, it is an overview of the general site locus, talking about the acreage and what the open space is comprised of. As we run through it, it talks about access to it and the natural resources that are protected. A lot of items there. Then also there is an Exhibit A as part of it. I think this is included in the CR also. It talks about the open space area. So as you can see, this is the Seagate development area, the Seagate Drive with the cul-de-sac, and then everything in green is part of the public open space, and it shows the as-built location of the trail network. I think Mason had asked if there is updated aerials, so we added some updated aerials for clarity, showing the Seagate, the entrance, then the entrance to the development, the entrance to the open space parking, the clamshell parking, then as part of the open space area, the open field, and then the trailhead across the field, and then the wooded area behind. We talk about the open space protection, protection of wild. This is all part of the aspects of the habitat and such of protections and public access. Then we get into description of the open space consists of a large field, open pasture meadow, and beyond the field lies a wooded area. So we went into detail of access and what the open space was comprised of the use, and also not only I think I had added in here. That was added in. We did add. There is a sentence here or a paragraph. Their responsibility for maintaining the open space lies with the homeowners association, as outlined in the conservation restriction, which runs with the property. Just to cover that, Mason and Kristen had asked that we add that to nail down that, okay, where the maintenance responsibilities lie. So then as we run through, we zoomed in on the open space as far as the parking access, how to traverse the field to get to the beginning of the trailhead as it loops through the woodlands, and then the location of the boundary itself. And then finally, we have pictures of the open space, the access into it, the clamshell access, the parking as it existed. I believe these were taken back in July, mid-July. Then the open space field, this is where the septic system is underneath the field here. And this is general location of the open area, the open field area. And then the signage designates the beginning of the nature trail. And Tom had mentioned there was clamshell surface. As you can see, it's already there was already some vegetation trying to poke through there. And then the trail itself is just a forest rough trail, swept clean, kept clear of vegetation. We have little trail markers indicating the trail location. And then it's not about the bridges themselves are wood, constructed with wood, very, very substantial crossings. So this is the first bridge, the second bridge, and then finally pictures of the established wetland replication area. That was asked, Kristen had asked that we confirm that as part of the open space. That was part of the open space plan, was the replication area. And then we get into the areas that include public parking, open field area, wooded area, walking trail, and then the boarding area, replication area as part of the conservation area. And then we refer back to the conservation restriction number, the outlines of that. And that covers it. And then finally, access to the site, detailed access to the site off of High Road. And so that's it. We submitted this. I believe that Kristen and Mason are okay with it. I think Kristen just said she'd like one last review to make sure grammar and spelling are all correct. And that's it for the baseline doc.
Okay. So, question. Mason, this wasn't listed as a public hearing because it's under general project discussion. Does this have to come in as a public hearing to authorize the chair to sign or accept this?
I was told by planning that a public hearing was not required.
Okay. That seems odd though to me. Mary, what's your thoughts on this?
Sorry, Bob, I was abstaining on this one. I don't think a public hearing is needed, though.
Okay, so what is the actual request? You want us to accept this submittal as presented? Is that I'm talking to Matt, what?
Yeah, sure. I believe the
What is
request
your
is to accept the baseline report and then the micro, and then at the macro level, accept the conservation restriction and agreed for the town to accept this grant of the conservation restriction.
Okay, so accept the baseline report and to accept
The grant of the conservation restriction from the Seagate Condominium Trust to the town of Newbury.
Has the state already approved the language for this CR?
Yes, they have blessed it. Yes.
So you already have the signature forms and everything for the
signature form, yes, it's all been sent to Kristen, the final version for execution. Kristen has it. I can resend if she needs it, but yes, Kristen has it.
Mhm.
And the state has approved the signature pages. They've approved every little comma, everything.
All right, let me read back my draft motion here. Okay, so basically accept the baseline report and to accept the grant of the conservation restriction from Seagate CR to the town of Newbury. Is that basically what you're looking for, Matt?
Yeah, so I'll actually read to you. I have the signature page of the conservation restriction that the Conservation
Why don't you
Commission
do
will
this?
sign.
can you just put that up and I'll read it. Would make it-
Unfortunately, I can't because I'm on my phone doing this at the moment. Sorry. But what it says is, again, it says, we, the undersigned, being a majority of the Conservation Commission of the town of Newbury, Massachusetts, hereby certify that a public meeting held on blank, the Conservation Commission voted to approve and accept the foregoing conservation restriction from 105 Seagate LLC as trustee of Seagate Condominium Trust pursuant to section 32 of chapter 184 and section 8C of chapter 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws, and do hereby accept the foregoing conservation restriction.
Does it require a signature of acceptance from the chairman?
It looks like, actually, I think we need a signature from a majority of the
Okay.
board
Okay.
has to sign it, so yes.
You don't have to approve the baseline report, Bob, because it's already been submitted,
Right,
I
right.
assume, so as
True,
part
yeah.
of the. So that if the states accepted the CR, they.
Yep.
So-
I mean, do we have to read all of that? I mean, it's, I didn't write any of that down. That
I think I can shorten it to just that the commission is voting to approve and accept the conservation restriction from Seagate Condominium Trust.
Okay. Okay,
So
I'll
moved.
entertain. Any further discussions from you guys? Woody, you look like you were ready to say something.
I said so moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Hold on, just a second.
Okay,
No,
Nick,
just,
Yeah.
and Matt, in the language that you wrote, or that you just read to us, it said based on a public hearing on such and such a date.
public meeting.
Public meeting,
Meeting.
That's the difference.
Okay, so it's public meeting, okay,
public meeting.
Yeah, no, that was my first thought, Mick, that.
Yeah. Okay,
And there
no,
was
I
a-
just want to make sure that we're not signing something that the language is gonna back up on us.
Listen, you know what? We're all a stickler for just getting it done right once if we can. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Roll call, all in favor? Mary?
Abstain,
Oh, that's right. Woody?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Mick?
Aye.
Harry?
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, guys, I guess, so Mason, all you gotta do is get that over to me and I'll put the electronic signatures on it.
Will do.
Okay, so guys, you should be
Um,
good to, what
Yeah,
else do you need, Matt?
unfortunately, they can't be electronic signatures. They actually need to be notarized and everything.
Okay,
so-
because we filed with the Registry of Deeds for electronic signatures. under
Oh.
Mass General law.
Okay,
So
okay,
all-
I'll
our
work
or-
with
all our
Mason.
orders, yeah. We
Yeah,
put
I'll
the
work with Mason
notation
and
of,
Kristen
yeah.
on that.
We
Okay.
work with the notation of when it's filed pursuant to the statute.
Got it.
yeah.
Don't we have a pretty hefty fee for personal signatures in front of a notary, don't we, Bob? At least
Well,
one year.
I mean, Mick, they'd have to pay for your transportation from California back from vacation, but, guys, anything else on this matter? It's been a long night for the board, so,
No.
okay. All right, staff reports and updates. Mason, you have nothing to say, correct? Bye, Steve. Bye, guys. Bye, Tom.
I have nothing to say. I will be out of office starting tomorrow afternoon and I will be back first thing Tuesday morning.
Okay,
That's all I got.
all right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All
Second.
right. All in favor? Mary, Woody, Frank, Mick, Harry.
Aye,
Bob
aye,
Connors.
aye. Mason.
Thank you,
enjoy your
guys.
time
We-
off.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
8. Well, you know what? I guess that there was a little payback by having only one meeting in August, but we're 8:20, 8:19 isn't too bad for what we pushed through today.